President Trump means what he says. Just listen to his words. He's not that hard to figure out. You can call it the Trump doctrine if you want, but it is simply a fact. And despite all the smears from the state-run legacy media mob, Trump has always called for global peace. Sometimes that means you got to get tough with both your enemies and your friends. Take a look earlier today.
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
All right, after a tenuous start, the ceasefire is now back on track. Keep in mind, this is a ceasefire less than 1 week after President Trump obliterated Iran's nuclear program with a massive strike. Take a look at your screen. The strike was a tremendous success thanks to several bunker buster bombs that penetrated a mountain and exploded deep underground. Fordo, their nuclear plant, really no longer exists. We'll get the full assessment in days ahead. Now, there will be a lot of hard work ahead in terms of achieving a lasting peace. That will include checks and balances and measures in place to prevent Iran from ever rebuilding anything nuclear. This should also include Iran's recognition of Israel and, of course, anywhere, any place, anytime inspections, and that would be American inspections. And, of course, a full accounting of all enriched uranium that the Iranians may have moved. That has got to be a part of it as well. My message to Iran, tried to warn you before Donald Trump dropped those bunker busters. If you think you will be clever and you think you'll be able to use your proxies like Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthi rebels or others to attack Israel, then that war will be back on immediately, and Donald Trump will not come to the rescue and stop Israel this time. He knows that they are acting on orders from you, the Iranian leadership. Well, whoever's left. From this point forward, Iran's radical leaders, they are committing suicide any and every time they dare attack Israel, either directly or indirectly through their proxies. But what President Trump has been able to accomplish in the last week is incredible. It is historic. So many presidents talked about it. None of them ever did it. Now, of course, it is driving the Democrats and the media mob predictably absolutely crazy. Instead of congratulations, we are seeing condemnation from the left. Insanely, some are even accusing Donald Trump of committing any illegal act. And even today, 79 Democrats in Congress voted to impeach the president for daring to breach the 1973 War Powers Act, which, as Greg Jarrett points out, quote, it is a notification requirement, and he did notify the leadership on the Democratic side and Republican side in Congress, not a prohibition on the president's right to exert military action. And the president did, in fact, notify those people in Congress he needed to notify. Just to be clear, as Greg Jarrett points out, under Article 2 of the Constitution, the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and that empowers him to direct military operations to deter foreign threats to our national security, without conferring with Jasmine Crockett. Now, this has been well established over the course of our republic. No president has ever abided by the War Powers Act ever. And the act itself even allows presidents a 60-day window to strike at any enemy if they deem necessary. On top of that, after 9/11, Congress specifically authorized additional powers for a president, granting explicit power to target nations linked to terrorism. That would be Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terror. But if Democrats actually disagree with these facts, where then was the outrage when Joe Biden bombed Afghanistan, Syria, Yemen, or when Barack Obama ordered strikes against Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Libya, Somalia, Pakistan? Obama even ordered a drone strike against a U.S. citizen in Yemen, and yet Democrats then didn't care a whit. In fact, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush, Ronald Reagan, Jimmy Carter, Gerald Ford, Richard Nixon, Lyndon B. Johnson all ordered strikes without congressional approval. There's your Hannity history lesson. But Democrats, why let facts get in the way of a great smear campaign against President Trump? They live, eat, breathe, sleep hating Trump. If the dog bites, the bee stings, you're feeling sad, blame Trump. If Trump cures cancer, blame him for that, too. They don't like Donald Trump. They don't like that he has emerged as the real one true leader of the free world. Other presidents only made proclamations about Iran and their nuclear program. Donald Trump brought them to their knees. Other presidents politely encouraged NATO members to, take their defense seriously, pay their fair share. Donald Trump got them to start paying their fair share as of today. Other presidents looked the other way while Europe was piping in oil and gas at lower rates from Russia, funding Putin's war machine, while Donald Trump was calling them out for doing that very thing and then wanting money for defense. And now, by the way, at the NATO meeting that's going on in the Netherlands, Europe's leaders have finally come to the realization that President Trump has been right the entire time about every major issue facing the world. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.